I'm Alex Hendley. Started off as a writer, then was a sports editor, disappeared for a year, and then this year I've been deputy editor. It wasn't something that I expected to get into. I did, you know how everyone's forced into work experience when they're at secondary school. I did one of my weeks of work experience at the local newspaper, and I didn't really enjoy it because I didn't get to do anything. Which now, when you're older, you really appreciate how much shadowing helps, and you get to see people do stuff. But when you're 15, shadowing's not what you want to do. You know, you want to get stuck in. So I didn't actually enjoy it. So I turned up and I saw the stall at Freshers' Fair, and I thought, oh, newspaper, right? Bad memories. Any society is fantastic, but I don't think any of them, apart from the Courier, are so. They balance how fun it is also with the fact that you will probably use this when you leave. This room is sort of a time machine in that you will come in for 10 minutes thinking I'll just pop in and see who's there, and you'll leave about 4 hours later because there'll be people here you weren't expecting to see. There'll be some work to do that you just fancy doing. You're just here forever, and it's very, very difficult to leave.
I'm James McCowell. I was a games editor and later culture editor at the Courier, and now I work in a research group at Newcastle University doing admin support for PhD students. I think the Courier, in terms of what it's given to me and what it meant to me when I was working there, it became very much like a home on campus for me, because in first year and second year when I would come into university, I would just either go straight home from lectures or I would like doss about in the pub for a bit and then go home anyway. Whereas when I came in third year and in my master's year, I would very much like a homing pitch. I would just default to the Courier office, like straight out of a seminar to the Courier office, straight out of a lecture to the Courier office. It was just like that, you know, you go straight there because you know that there's A, something to do, and B, someone to talk to while you're there. So it's, I think in terms of what it can give to you, it can give you a place on campus for you to just go to and know that, you know, it's somewhere you belong and it's somewhere you've got something to do. And yeah, sure, the campus provides for that in terms of like physical locations, but not in terms of a community. And that is what the Courier can give you if you are part of it.
Let's go edit the sports section a little bit too late.
When I was writing for the Courier, it felt more like I was involved in the process. You know, it has a very much like a press room kind of feel to be in here. It's all encompassing in a way that isn't actually intimidating at all, in the sense that like once you start it, it completely defines your university experience. It just takes over everything else. Like you've still got your degree and everything, you've still got whatever societies you might be a part of, but the Courier just fills whatever time you don't fill with something else. It's like pouring water into sand, it just fills the cracks.
I am James Broston, the editor of the Courier. I look over the whole paper and do NSR and NUTV as well. I thought about writing before I thought about the Courier, and then I saw it at the Freshers' Fair and I thought, right, that's my in, that's my way to do it, and then got hooked on sport from there on in, really.
Do you reckon those look like different enough?
Just by sitting next to someone else on a Mac doing InDesign, probably having the same struggles as you, probably getting just as annoyed as you, is a weird bonding experience. It is in a way similar to like as in school, you sit next to each other and just because you both hate long equations or whatever, you know, you start to kind of bond over that kind of thing.
Do you want to check them with them, make sure they're happy with them? Yes. I'm sure they will be.
So I first went to a Courier meeting, the first one of my second year, so that was in a big lecture theatre, I think, in the Bedson building, somewhere like that. So Vic's at the front, he was the editor at the time, and each editor, one by one, kind of reeled off what they did and why their section was so great and why I should write for them. As a writer, you kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say you're afraid, but you're kind of intimidated by the whole thing. Like it seems like quite a big process and everyone seems so important standing at the front. And then when you apply to be an editor and you stand there, you realise how unimportant you are.
So they said you could have like a creative licence, but they want a P.
I don't know, I think it's quite a cheesy one, but like obviously I did sport all the way through my life, but the Courier is a different kind of teamwork to what you'll ever do before. You really do have to work in a team to get things done. If you're an individual in this office, you don't get things done, which is something that isn't really anywhere else in life until you get into a workplace.
I'm Louise Hall, and I am going to be the next editor of the Courier for the 2018-19 academic year. A lot of the friends I made in first year at the paper went on to finish their degrees, and they obviously weren't staying on, but I think what is really nice is that we all stay friends and come out not only just to hang out outside of the paper but still inside of the paper. Like, even though you leave, you never truly like leave the office.
Oh no, but it was just terrifying. No, she was just...
The Courier is definitely more than making a newspaper every week. I don't think I'd love it so much, or I'd have been so keen to lead the paper if it was just you came in every week, you put something together and you put it out into the world. I think that it's being around the people who care about it, who like joke about it, who you can sit and laugh about it with, that makes it something that you're like proud to achieve every week and something that you really enjoy achieving every week. Like, everyone who is there really wants to be there, which in itself makes it a great paper rather than the other way around.
So my name is Jared Moore. I was the games editor of the Courier last year. This year I've been the online editor for the Courier. And next year I'm going to be a primary school teacher, so I'm taking a complete step away from journalism. Because you spend so much time with these people, you'll be driven insane at points by like the work that you go through together to hit deadlines, but it bonds you in such a way that when you actually go outside of the Courier, you almost feel like you've known that person those people for a lot longer than you actually have. It takes the drab and it takes the pain out of actually doing work that could really help you and benefit you further in your career. I think that's kind of what the Courier really embodies, is the fact that you are doing things that really will develop your skills and develop your technical ability in terms of writing or video editing or speaking, commentary, producing, stuff like that. But it doesn't feel, when you're doing it, like a chore. It really it highlights the fact that that's what you love and that's what you want to do. There are very few societies in university life where you form bonds that will take you both professionally and in terms of like relationships and friendships out into like the world after university. So I can't thank the Courier enough, both as like a body and as like a community of people, for what it has given to me and the friendships and relationships that I've formed through that process.
My name's Helena Vesti. I was the news editor of the Courier from 2016 to 2017. The atmosphere in the Courier office kind of varies depending on what time you're in there. So I'd say there's about 3 variations you could see. So number 1 is when there's absolutely no one in there and it's just you, and it certainly gives you a lot of time to think because you're on your own. But then if you compare it to a really busy day where everyone's just starting to get their articles in, that can be quite an exciting time to be in the office, because there's invariably some kind of cheesy music playing, which is always really fun, and people are saying really stupid things often that end up on the quotes of the year wall. And then it's different again when there's a big deadline and everyone's kind of rushing to get their stuff done. That happened a lot with news. The group I found at the Courier is probably the most special one in my life. I think I always find myself returning to Newcastle for that Courier environment in particular, because it's just so supportive. Whilst I'm in Manchester now, I go to News Associates, which is a kind of fast-track journalism training course. I'm getting an NCTJ, which obviously involves a lot of media law and shorthand and things like that. Alongside that, I've been freelancing for the BBC. I've been working on Sunday Politics.
One thing that the Courier does really, really well is annual celebration called Couriermas, which, as you would guess, is the Courier takes Christmas. So all we do is like, it's a BYOB and potluck food kind of thing. We just like clear the space out in the office here, sort ourselves out for drinks, get a lot of snacks lined up on the table, and then just like hit playlist after playlist, and eventually, if we aren't too completely hammered, which has happened in the past, we, you know, hit the tune.
Another tradition of the Courier is definitely the Cozy Joe's karaoke nights. So to celebrate another hard-won edition, we would often find ourselves traipsing down the big market to sing along to some classic noughties tunes.
I am not the sort of person that would generally do karaoke. I can't sing, I'm pretty much tone deaf, and I don't like singing in front of other people. But the community of the Courier really brings out, like, because you feel so comfortable around the people that you're working with, like the fears about singing horribly or being like tonally inept just completely fade away. So we go to Cozy Joe's a lot as sort of a group. It's almost like a rite of passage at this point. One of my favourite anecdotes from the entire time we've been at the Courier was myself and fellow games editor John Loneman went to Cozy Joe's and we sung Kanye West's All of the Lights, and it was awful. It was like, I think half of it was rapped badly, the other half was sang badly, but it kind of embodied like the entire experience of the Courier, in that at points like the work will feel really difficult, but the fact that you're there with people around you and you get through it together just means that by the end of the process, you know, you've actually made something and you've worked on something and you've developed something.
I'm sure like 20 years later we'll all come back and slag off what the new people have done. Like, it's not like the old days. Like, if it even exists then, if it's not completely online. Like,
It's a complete and total overwhelming thing that is wonderful the entire time you're doing it, and I can't actually overstate how much it changed the way that I perceived uni when I started doing it. I really, really wish I could go back. Unfortunately, due to the nature of students and how student works, I can't. But I don't think I'll ever look back on that with anything like grief or regret. I'll always look back and think, yeah, that was a good time.